Hello everybody and welcome to day 9 of Advent of Code 2023. This day we will be doing Mirage maintenance. So we are riding a camel to an oasis and we need to fix sand machines. And so our puzzle input is history of a single value. Each line is history of single value. And our report should include a prediction of the next value in each history. So we'll be going line by line. And we start by making a new sequence from the difference at each step of the history. So if that sequence is not all zeros, we repeat this process until the sequence we generate is zeros. And you can extrapolate what the next value of the original history should be. So the first history is this. The values increase by 3 each time. So we generate sequence 3, 3, 3, 3, which are not all 0. So we repeat that process. And the values now differ by 0. So we have all zeros now. Okay, so that makes sense. And to extrapolate, we start adding a new 0 to the end of the list of zeros. Then we add that. So we fill in the placeholders from the bottom up. So A needs to be a result of increasing 3 by 0. So this is going to be 3. And this should be 18. Yes. So it's getting the previous line's value, adding up the value on the next line and getting the original one. Getting all zero differences from the second history requires an initial sequence. Then following the same process as before, work out the next value which, okay, so it's going up the value chain, getting, so this seems quite reasonably simple. Our goal is to find the next value for each history and add them together. So in this case we get 114, and we are going. Our goal is to get the sum of extrapolated values for the puzzle input. The puzzle input is here, and it seems that it's not that huge. The sequences are relatively short, so this shouldn't be a big problem, I hope. So I will take this input, put it here, and now let's try to implement this, shall we? So for input, I will do file read all lines from input txt. And now I will be going for each line in input, and will be processing those lines somehow. I will do running total, which will be 0 initially, and this will be our current total. And I will create a method that will give us extrapolated value, get extrapolated value for int sequence. So we get the sequence. To get the sequence, we need to split the line by spaces and select in parse to array. So we get the sequence, and then we get extrapolated value for that sequence and add it up to running total. So this is quite good. So now how to get the extrapolated value. So first I will need to break down the sequence into the pyramid kind of setup. So I will create a chart array, which is going to be of length of sequence and height of sequence. I will maybe do +1 just to make sure we don't have well, it shouldn't be necessary, but let's do it like this. So what I will do is set up the sequence on the first line, and now we'll be going to so we will be going through the sequence. So while not all zeros are all zeros, false, unless there is a line with all zeros, but that shouldn't matter. No. And so we set all zeros true, and now we will be going, we will be calculating those differences. So part row. So we will start. We will be processing start chart row 0 initially. Chart row plus, and now let's do this. So now for E in sequence, we will be doing left value, right value, +1. Although we need to make sure that we stop at -1 length, because the last value is actually the end of the line completely. So now left value, right value, and we do the difference. So so right value minus left value diff. So chart row +1 I equals diff, and if diff isn't 0, we set all zeros to false, and we continue in this manner. So we continue filling up those lines until we reach all zeros, and once we have that, we can go back line by line and calculate the proper new extrapolated value. So how do we do that? So we as we go so for row, so we start at the row that we mark as all zeros, and we continue until we go to row 0. So now on each of the rows we will calculate the next additional value. So maybe what I will do is just expand that by 1 so that it's easier for us to add that additional value at the end. So last index. So what's the last index on that row? So if we are at row 1, so it's gonna be sequence length minus row. Is it possible? So last index. So if we are it's gonna be -1 if I'm not mistaken. So this should be the last index on that row that we have filled in, and value above will be so last index, value below is going to be so value difference will be on the last index on this row, and the value above will be the value that's on row -1, and last index. Yeah, I think so, that it should be the same. So so this is 0 0. So 1. So technically it should be like, yeah, the same index to get the value above. Yeah. So so we set chart row -1, last index +1 will be value above plus difference, and then we continue one to the line above, and so on until we reach the top. And now the extrapolated value will be chart sequence length. If I'm not mistaken, this could be correct, and we can verify this by running against the sample input. So let's see what happens when I run this on the first line. So the first line, to chart, okay, there's 4. Oh, this is weird. We don't have the, right, this is incorrect. It should be 0i. I shouldn't have trusted Copilot completely. So index was out of bounds. Why so? So let's verify. We made some mistake here. So first row should be 0 3 6 12 15. Yes. Second row should be all threes. 3 3 3 3 3. Now all zeros. Okay, except for, how did this get there? Okay, because I am going to, oh right, minus chart row, because I should end earlier for the next rows, so that should explain the problem. Right line running to wrong. Let's see. What is 0? Still nothing. Still something incorrect here. So let's do this again. So let's see our chart. Now it should be 15, 0. Yeah, okay. And so all zeros. That's correct. And in this manner, we should calculate the first line's value correctly. And that didn't happen for some reason, so let's go back here and see what happened there. So sequence length minus row. So all right, I am of course. No, I was correct. So if I'm on chart row, that's correct. So this is chart row 2. Last index of that should be 3, and that is 0 1 3. So that is correct. So the difference should be, and this is not correct. So why is it not? Oh, right, because the value above is 3, and we go up level and set fourth value. Yeah, seems okay so far. So the difference should be 3. The value above should be 12. Oh, 12. Yeah, 12. No. Oh. For some reason yeah, so it's one-off error. Okay, so last index, it should be like this. Huh, I thought I was checked it correctly, but probably not. So now, hopefully, there is 18. Okay, that makes sense. So now running total is 18 and so on, and it should be correct now. So 114 seems good. So let's try on the big input. Okay, fingers crossed. Quite a big number. Doesn't mean yet that it's incorrect. And it is correct, so that's a good sign. So we have first part of this problem done. So now let's continue to part 2. So it would be nice to have even more history included. So we will be extrapolating backwards. So we're doing the process of finding differences until the sequence of differences is entirely 0. Then, rather than adding a 0 to the end, we will be filling the next values of each previous sequence at the beginning. So fill in the first values for each. Okay, so this is the same problem essentially, just with the start of the line, not the end of the line. So let's copy our current solution in here, and I will I will use the sample input to verify correctness again. So this means that this part of the process stays the same, but now we will be doing the first index. It's going to be first index, so it's going to be 0 always. So 0. Value above, it's going to be 0. So instead of writing it into an actual in the indices, because that would mean that I would have to write to -1, I will be I'll be just remembering the values. So I'll start here, get a 2, then I will get -2 and so on. So I'll be just remembering that last value there. So so the difference will be now current value above will be this one, and the result will be minus difference, right? So we will be decreasing the value, so the current value will be this, and the final result will be current value, and that is all, I think. So let's try with the sample input, which is 2. That seems promising. So now the big one, and fingers crossed. It's 1068. So now let's go here, 1068, and it is correct. So we have successfully solved both puzzles of day 9. I hope that this video was useful to you. If it was, and if you want to get notified about future videos, whether it's Advent of Code or something else I will create, please give me a subscribe, and I will see you in the next video, which will be day 10, and also ChatGPT versus day 9 of Advent of Code. So I will see you there. Bye bye.